Here we go. Kirby Month Episode 2. And on today's episode, we're reviewing Kirby Superstar. If you excuse me for a moment, let's go to mine. So yeah, in this episode, we're reviewing all 7 major sub-games. The good, the bad, and basically every single one in between. So, let's look over them one by one. While I play Milky Way Wishes, because I don't know how to change modes. So, let's begin. So I'm going to start by talking about Spring Breeze. So, Spring Breeze. First mode you unlock in the game. And all it really is just a simple Dreamland remake. That's all it is, though it does come with the problems of being a remake of one of the first games in the series. It actually does have copy abilities this time, which is great, but the main issue is that it's short. Only lasting about... how long was it again? 4 levels, that was right. It's only a 4-level long mode. But for a starting mode to a game like Superstar, which advances the series as far as it does, I like this idea. Next up on the docket would be Dynablade. Possibly the worst mode because it's the least interesting by so far. It's just an uninteresting mode. For one, it doesn't have the end-of-level bosses like Kirby's Dream Land, and the level design is worse. And at least the final battle and ending is better. It does help save this mode from being absolutely awful or anything. However, it's still not a mode I would consider good. After that, we're going to be talking about Gourmet Race, possibly the most well-known mode of the entire game. And for good reason. It's particularly so due to one song, which we'll get to the music of the game later. But to be honest, I do quite like Gourmet Race. Sure, it's a simple mode. You just have to beat Deity in 3 races while collecting as much food as possible. But that's kind of the charm of the mode. It's nothing too complex, it's actually really fun. But the final 3 modes are probably the most complex. So let's get to those 3. Revenge of Meta Knight. One of the more complicated modes. It's basically a bunch of timed missions where you have to deal with Meta Knight trying to take over Dreamland due to their laziness. And the mode is good. I like the level design, and the halberd theme is rightfully iconic. But, personally, I just never cared for it much. The idea of time missions is great, but the time missions time limit is so easy to make that it demeans the idea of there ever being a time limit. It's pointless. After that, we have possibly one of the most interesting modes of the bunch. The Great Cave Offensive. A Metroidvania-style mode where you have to clear a lot of areas. Basically 4 areas now that I think of it. And it's pretty short, but the replay value comes from trying to find all 60 treasures. And it's actually quite fun. Credit to Al, it's very fun. The only real issue is that the old tower exists, and it is one of the worst levels in Kirby history. It would be the worst, but I know what game is coming next, and it's going to be the worst one of the bunch, without a doubt, at least when it comes to level design. But basically what I'm saying is old tower is awful. And then we have the mode I'm playing right now, Milky Way Wishes, probably the most complex of the bunch. Milky Way Wishes basically features Kirby not having any of his classic abilities by inhaling. And as such, now, he needs to find copy essences hidden throughout the levels, like that, to get them. And it's really fun! Like, really fun! Just trying to solve these puzzles to find all of them. It's just a great mode. And while the plot isn't as robust as the others, it's just as robust as the others at the start, it gets very interesting later on. And the battle against Void is amazing. And the battle at the end against the final boss is very good. Not Void. But basically what I'm saying is, it's a solid mode. And probably the best one of this game. The only real issue is, like all the modes, it's just very short, but everything combines together to create a great experience. However, there's more to Superstar than just that, as once you beat all the modes, you get the arena. A challenge run where you try to clear every single boss in the game. And, controversial thoughts, but it's harder than the True Arena in Superstar Ultra. Particularly because Twin Cannon is just the worst. But overall, I like the modes. And if you're curious, my personal ranking would be 6, Dynablade, 5, Spring Breeze, 4 would be Revenge of Meta Knight, 3 would be Gourmet Race, 2, wait, I forgot the arena. Arena's 3. 2 would go to Great Cave Offensive, and 1 would be Milky Way Wishes. But now with that over with, let's talk about something else. Let's show off this game's new abilities! Because this game contained quite a few. So, let's look through the entire area and show off some of the new abilities this game had. Starting off with Wing. Wing is alright. It mostly just flaps feathers around and allows you to fly faster. It's good, but not the best. Yo-Yo is definitely my favorite ability out in this game. It gives you busted range. And it can even go through walls. Yo-Yo is definitely one of my favorite abilities, and it's an absolute shame they shafted as much as they did. Copy is bad. It allows Kirby to copy the abilities of those he finds. It does have more advantages than most give it credit for, though. Particularly, it can damage enemies that don't give abilities, and can actually give you abilities from enemies in Milky Way Wishes. So it's not as bad as people really say it is. And yes, the helper mechanic exists too, I forgot to mention that. Jet is good. Jet basically allows you to do all sorts of flying moves. And that's its particular move. Ends up getting fire. But that's basically what Jet is capable of, and it's pretty good. Mirror is pretty great. It only really has 2 moves, which is this move and its dash move. It's quite fun. And then we have Ninja. I could really never figure out how to use this ability, to be honest, so we're just moving on. Now, Suplex. I hate this ability. Whoops. Suplex is basically just dashing forward to grab enemies and throwing them in random directions. Sort of like a mix of Backdrop and Throw from Adventure, which were bad abilities. Then there's Plasma, an ability that would eventually get mixed with Spark. It is pretty big. It's kind of like UFO from the previous game, with depending on how long you charge it, it does a different attack. For example, no charge, a little bit of charge, and a lot bit of charge. It's kind of like what Spark would be in Return to Dreamland, and I like it. And finally, Bomb. A rock cliff obtained from an enemy that was an adventure. Allows you to throw bombs in every which direction you want. And it's cool, but not my personal favorite. And yeah, I forgot to mention, the partner mechanic. It's great. You can have a partner with you, and it even allows for 2-player, a first in the Kirby series. But to be honest, I never found a second player. And that leads us to the final subject for today. Let's listen to some of this game's many bangers. Luckily, unlike last episode, I actually know where some of the bangers are. First banger is 11. I'm going to play them each for 30 minutes. 30 seconds. This is the first banger. Actually, I'm going to go 20. King Dedede's theme. Spring Breeze credits. Next up, it's Lot Away. So hold on to your seats. My favorite version of Green Greens in the series.